There we are. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chandler's Cottage. How are you this morning? It is so good to be back after a couple of weeks. 2 weeks off? 2.5 weeks off. It was a long time. I'll just wait for a few people to get here and then pick it up on my phone. And then, oh my goodness, there it is. First of all, yes, 2.5 weeks I've been absent, and to that end, thank you everybody who has been checking in on me and checking in on Mum. She is home. Again. I would have been back with you probably Wednesday night. But for those of you who don't know, the gorgeous Pam was very unwell. And then we had God 1, 2 and 3 save her at Royal Melbourne Private. And then she beat all the stats and the odds and the timing and got home in record speed. And then we had a little possible hiccup last week. And then God 1 and 2 and 3 said, get back in here so we can check you out. So she's been back in, and I took her home again yesterday. And she's all good. And she's doing really, really well. So thank you, everybody. And probably one of the best things for those in Blue Gum Quilters, one of the best visits I had with Mum is I took in all the photos of your challenge for this year, and she helped me judge it. And Blue Gum Quilters decided to do their challenge based on Mum's Pam's creative packs that we often had, and they all got to blindly pull one out of a box, and they had to work with that for their challenge. May I just say, you never want her to judge a quilt show. She is a tough cookie judge. And then in the end, she couldn't decide, so we had to invent 2 more Pam's Awards for Blue Gum Quilters to cover the ones that she just couldn't make her decision on. So anyway, but listen, thank you very much. You've been lovely, and I love the way you check on Mum. Then you check that I'm okay as well. Then you check that Rob's okay, all of that. So I really do appreciate it. And as timing would have it, YOMU arrived as well in the middle of all of that. So that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let me just see who's in the building. Good morning. In the shed, I should say, in the shop shed. Good morning, Pam, Robin, Karen. Hi. I had a lovely chat with Karen in the UK this week. Good morning, Donna, Roslyn. Good morning, Carol. Say hi to Chris for me. Good morning, Bobby. Good morning, Rosemary. Liz, Julie, Yvonne. Oh, I was a bit early, actually. Sorry. Therese, good morning to you. Yes, me too, Denise. Oh, sorry, Bernadette. Me too. I'm glad she's home. I can see Liz Brett is here watching with Dell. Oh, she's going to watch tonight because she's with the sensational Michelle Marvick today. I'm a little jealous, to be honest. I'd like a day with Mish too. That would be really nice. Have a great day, Del. Good morning. Oh, you're all lovely. Thank you. Good morning, good morning. I can see Terence is here. Doreen Brooks is here from over that side of town. Louise is here from over that side of town. Chris, good morning. That way. Nancy, you gorgeous thing. Judy's here as well. Janine, Julia. Oh, thank you for joining me. And we're going to have a bit of fun this morning, and you're just going to indulge me for 5 minutes in the history of YOMU. Just quickly, we're going to do that, and then I'll probably put it somewhere so you can have a look. So YOMU started in, you ready? 2000. No, now I've got to get it right. 2018. 2000 and no, I've got it wrong. Hang on. 2016. So I was still with Robert Kaufman, and I was at a show, and I had my Oriental Baltimore up, and we had done Culture Club in Dutch, Russian and Indian, and Kaufman decided that they would like the next collection to be Japanese and based on my Oriental Baltimore. So I went home from a spring market. So in America we have spring market and fall market to release all new fabrics and products for the quilting industry each year. Spring market's a little bit different now. It's been replaced by another show, but that's the way it worked. Spring in May over there, fall in October, and then followed up by Quilt Festival. So this being the, where's my camera? There it is. This being the Oriental Baltimore. Okay, so that is actually version number 3, and that one's in Spain with Maria at the moment. I've got the old original here with me at the moment. Anyway, so I went home, designed it all up over winter here, took it back, and they had, in the middle of that somewhere, had changed their mind. There was a lot of internal argy-bargy going on, and they decided not to work with international designers again for a while, or indefinitely, and I think it's pretty much indefinitely. So, pretty cross, came home, threw it in the cupboard. Then when Rob and I went out on our own as the textile pantry, I resurrected it, and we had it nearly finished to go after Summer Palace. I did Summer Palace first, and then I decided to do this, then we hit COVID. So, in the middle of all of that, we stopped, and then we've done it finally this year. But it did take us a lot of time, as you know, because then I decided to move to digital printing, and then the machine kaput. It's the best way to put it, and then we had to go back to screen. So we finally got there, and it arrived. So, and think about everything else that's happened in the middle. Rob and I have moved to the country. We've set up here. So many other things have happened in the middle of all of that. And I started it back when we're still in our house in Beaumaris, and we still had the shop in K Street. So it's a long history in there. So we got there. So if I just show you, I just want to show you one block off the Baltimore. I've got the whole original quilt all folded up here. There's the ginger block. There's the irises. And there's the maple block on there. And if you've got this quilt half made through a block a month or something, I would like to just tell you a little insight into the future, that next year we're having the Goodbye Under the Australian Sun exhibition. But the year after, I'm scheming an Oriental exhibition. So you've got 2 opportunities to show off your quilt. The first one, if you're coming to the Creative Escape on the 18th of April next year, and tickets go on sale on the 1st of Feb, that is an Oriental themed Creative Escape. And if you go, oh no, I can't knock that off, then take yourself forward 18 months, and then you could actually show it at the exhibition. All right. So if you take those blocks and have a look at it, this is the maple, and this is the iris that's up here. And what was the other one that I showed you? Oh, there's the bamboo. What was the other one? I forget now. Iris. Oh, ginger. Ginger is down here. So we've got 2 different colorways. This is the spring colorway, and this is the summer one. Okay, so there's two to work with. And in this collection, there's only 7 fabrics. I have lots of friends around the shop shed that will go with it. But today I thought I'm just going to focus on the actual fabric. I may have mentioned that we're going to look at coordinates, but I'm going to do that Wednesday night with you, because I'm going to be back Wednesday night doing our calendar project for November. Way late. And my poor Quilters Life members have just been sitting there going, where is she? So I'm dedicating Tuesday now to you, so we can kick on with our Japanese Baltimore, which we are making in a Quilters Life. It's the same layout as the Oriental, but with 9 different Mon symbols in it. And no, there's not going to be a YOMU 2 with the other ones. We're moving on to Dutch next. So, panel, this is 24 inch or 60 centimeters. So like any other of the panels you might have, and therefore any of the patterns that you've also got that you use with your, can you lose Ginny, Robbie, whatever she's doing with her little Tinkerbell? Yeah, so, and if you've got a pattern, if you've got peacock through the window, or through the window, or any other panel patterns you've got, this is going to fit in there for you. It's going to work, okay? So you can look at using that. Oh, good morning, everybody. I'm sorry, you've all popped in while I've been chuffing away. But thank you. I'll go back and read all your messages later. Okay, so this will work in there, definitely. But we're going to do lots of other things with it as well. I'm going to touch on a couple of those this morning, okay? So that will work, same. And then we have a border print. So this has 6 6-inch stripes on it exactly the same across the bolt. And that's where we're going to be able to create, I hope, a little bit of magic in using it. So, well, Jason's got 4 10-inch and he does a heap of patterns with his like that. We're going to work with 6 of them together. So that's the summer up there and that's the spring one down there, and I'll give you a closer look at those in a minute. Then we've just got 3 gradient or ombre prints that go with it. So we've got the summer one up here, and the spring one you can just see here. We're going to have a play with that this morning, so I'll pull that out. And then underneath you can see the green, and the green goes with both colorways. So I've used exactly the same foliage colors in this one as I have in the summer one. All right, so you're going to be able to have lots and lots of fun with those. Not just with YOMU, but I hope you'll find a use for them wherever you like using a fabric that changes color across the bolt. So you can use them with all of the gelatos that we have also in the ombres, and there are some great ones that also go with YOMU, so we'll come back and have a look at those next time round. All right, so first up we're going to have a play with we're going to have a play with the panel, so this one up here. Now what I wanted to reassure you as well is that when we come through and cut, I'll go this way, when we come through and cut this for you, we're going to be very, very careful, because there is, Robbie, can you keep an eye on comments for me, because I'm just going to dive into this. When we come through and cut this for you, we are going to be super, super careful, okay? And if you're grabbing yours from your favorite local patchwork shop, this is something that I just want you to check in with them as well when they cut it for you. And one of the reasons that, well, it's not the reason, but while we've been busy getting our act back together, the other thing that's been happening is that we've been sending out YOMU to all of the shops around Australia that have ordered it. So please check in with your local shop as well, because you may be able to just go in and pick it up, or if you want them to get it in, you can always ask them very nicely, because we do smell in small quantities to shops, so you can always ask them very nicely to give us a call and we will organise it and send it out so that you can support them. But with this, the most important thing I want you to remember is, can you just see this down here? Can you see that one? That's just half of the bamboo. So the bamboo needs to be in the middle of your panel here. So if you do grab it from a shop, just make sure, because when they open a new bolt, the bolt might start here or it might start here. So just make sure that you get a panel that's got the bamboo in the middle, mainly if you're going to use it as a whole panel. If you're going to chop them all up, not such a big deal, but you really want to have that in the middle so that you get the colour balance through. There is a reason I have not left a definitive line to cut on, but we're going to come back to that next week. There's a reason. So when we cut, we're going to be cutting here, and there is 1.5 inches between all of the motifs. So that means you've got plenty of room to add in a seam allowance in between them all. So when we cut this, we'll be lining this up perfectly at 3/4 each side, and we'll cut it singly through for you so that you've got a really accurate panel. And you can see this one's been done over here already. And when you're cutting through, that's what you're going to be able to do through here. And remember, when you get your fabric with any panel, absolutely, this one's pretty, these have been wound really beautifully, but with any panel, when they take it off the printing press, or whatever you want to call it, if it's digital or printing, there can be a little bit of movement. So when it comes off, it actually folds down into like a long tub, and sometimes it'll just shift a little bit when it comes off, and that will just create a little bit of distortion in the weft. When they actually come through and then put it onto a roll, it gets straightened up, and then it gets really blocked well when it goes onto what we call a DR, or it's a double roll, so when it gets pressed onto the bolts that you see in a shop. So with all of that, there can still be a little bit of movement. So just remember, when you do cut any panel, particularly with this, follow the motifs. Don't follow the line of your ruler. So if you put it down and one circle's a little bit off, just tug it so it sits lovely on that 1.5 inch, or you're going to cut on the 3/4 inch line. And when you press it, it'll all come out perfect. It's just, it comes off, and it's so vulnerable when it comes off the line that it can get a little bit of movement in it. Not that I'm saying you can't judge the quality of the fabric by how well it's been wound. That's a pretty big thing. There's a story for another day about the wonky donkey quilt, isn't there, Robert? All right, so that's what I just want you to remember for me. Just when you're cutting, just remember you're going to have that 1.5 inch in between. Now, I've got a piece over here of this one that I have been chopping into, and you can see I've actually taken off the top border, which is this bit here. And the top and the bottom borders are the same, so you'll be able to use them as you wish, or fussy cut. So I've taken that off, and I've actually cut, for the first time, these off. So the maple was in the middle, and then this one, the irises were here, and the clematises were over here. Okay, so they were in there. So you can see I've got my 3¼ inch either side on them. Now, do you remember the Oriental blue work? And for those of you that go way back with me, it started out as the Oriental pink work, which I think is upstairs in a suitcase. I think it is. Anyway, so this is the, I don't know what I did with my Oriental blue work pattern. Doesn't matter. It's all good. No, it's no, Robbie. It's right down the end. I think I need you to print some more. This is the Oriental blue work. So this is one of the first things that I want to have a play with the panel, because you can see this is where we started, and we actually did the Oriental blue work or pink work. Oh, thanks. Before we did the Baltimore, it always went stitchery to applique. Same with the Japanese one. We've got a Japanese gold work stitchery. So you can see what we've done here. Or whoever did them with me, I can't remember now, because you know I'm not a good embroiderer. The stitcheries were done first, and then they have been pre-shaped, okay, and then appliqued onto octagons, and then we've got set in squares. So that's what I actually want to do with the panel. I actually want to take the mons and put them onto this, and then I've got all that nice rich border print left over to use to fussy cut down to go possibly in here, and these little bits around the edges. That's what I want to do, and what that will mean is there'll be absolutely no waste with it at all. And it's going to give us sort of the same look as the panel, but a more intricate, larger piece. So with that, I've started playing with the techniques that I use to do this one with pre-shaping. So I'll show you what I've done. What I wanted to do this morning was I'm literally showing you how I'm designing a couple of quilts, and these will be published as patterns when they're done. But it also means if you've got the Nouse and maybe you've got one of an Oriental blue work pattern or the Baltimore or something, you'll be able to do it yourself as well. And I really want to show you these techniques so that you can start thinking about how you can do it, if not with my fabric, but you might have other ones that you'd be thinking, what on earth am I going to do with that now I've bought it? So that's why I wanted to share this with you as I kind of get ready to do these patterns this week. And some of the patterns that we're doing might actually be created digitally to start with, because there's no risk in doing that of how they would work digitally and then created in real life. And Jace does that a fair bit with some of his patterns because of the volume of work he's trying to throw out. But it's also a way that we can double check that it's going to look good before we spend the time to put it all together. So there's kind of like a double advantage in doing it. All right, so with these, let me have a look at the dimensions with you. So when I've cut these down and left that 3/4 inch in between them all, it's sitting at about 7.5 inches wide. So the next thing I did was, you know me, I went to the kitchen cupboard and tried to find a plate that was about 7.25. And I failed dismally. I have my kitchen cupboards where I keep all the good plates and everything now, sort of the doors open and there's plates spilling out onto the floor I need to clean up. So when you can't do that, what do? You go, Robbie, please, can you please print me a, what did I say? 7.25?
No, it was 7 inch.
It was a 7 inch and it was too small. So this morning I've actually given him the news that I need to change just a bit. This is my circle now and it is 7 3/8. So 7 3/8 circle will be going into the pattern, but you might like to have a look around and see what you've got that's going to work. So first of all though, before anything else, when you've got your circle, what I want you to do is actually fold it in half twice so that you've got the quarter marks on each side. I'm just going to get a pen so that you can see. And I'm just going to put those lines there so you can see them a little better. And this will work with anything that you want to do a pre-shaped circle with. So use a plate, a placemat, anything that you've got that's a complete circle. So I've done that, and then I've come across and grabbed sandpaper. Now you know I love sandpaper because it grips.
And you can do your nails.
And you can do, Rob, I'm saying you can do your nails at the same time, not with this stuff. Okay, and then what I've done is I have traced my circle onto the sandpaper, and then I've gone through and actually added these little quarter marks onto my circle here. So now I've got these marked on the edges on this one. And again, for my eyes, but you can't see that. You don't need them all the way across. So now I've got those marks on there. Then we're going to take one of our squares here and we'll do the same. We're going to fold it in half. Now, I used to always make the mistake of using my iron to press these in. You don't want to do that. You can create quite a permanent press. I mean, you can always get it out with water later. But if you can just do it with your fingers or your hands, that will be enough. So now I've got this going this way, and I'm going to go back and line up my marks. And you can see why I was a bit excited about the 7 3/8, because what it does, it leaves me with a 1/4 inch around all sides, and that's what I want. And then I'm not wasting anything at all, except now I don't know where my I'm going to have to use a pencil because my chalk pen has got black in it, which is of no use. Now I would usually do this on the back, but I want you to see where it comes up on the front. So I've tagged under YOMU the chalk pens today, but grab anything but black, okay? You don't want the black one. All right, so now I've got my circle marked on here. And, oh yeah, see, this one's all right. This one's green. We've got green, pink, blue, white. So they're going to work well for you. Okay, so have a look at that. Make sure you're happy with it. Now what we need to do as we cut it out, just like we do when we do little Suffolk puffs and pre-shaped circles, we need to... What's wrong?
Just looking at Keisha.
Keisha's fine. Don't stress me out. We need to add a 1/4 inch as we go. And it doesn't have to be an accurate one, because our sandpaper template, look, you can use cardboard if you want. You know I just love the sandpaper because it grips, and also you sort of get a super press with it because it's sand, which, you know, sand makes glass, so you just get this lovely super press. Okay, So with this, we are going to, when we make this little project, we are going to actually do that little running stitch all the way around the edge with a knotted thread, like we do with lots of things. If you haven't seen me do it before, then I should say wait for your advent to arrive, really cheekily, but I could also say in the Craft and Cook shows on the YouTube channel, there's a whole section on it as well. So now I've got this cut out with my 1/4 inch round, and you can see that's my waist. Absolutely nothing. So that's super good. All right, now we need to get our background together. So I will do all of these like this, and I will do the whole 9. And then what will happen here, or you know what, I'm still decided, folks. With the blue work, we actually come through and pop a piece of thin pellin. So H360, I've tagged it under YOMU as well, if you haven't got any in your stash at the moment. Cut to this size, so if this was my pellin, and we actually pop it in here as well before we pull up our thread. So it would be under here, cut to this size, or just a little bit less, sandpaper on top, and then pull up the thread, and that's going to pull all of this seam allowance up over the edge and give it a really good press. I'm still debating. These are smaller than the blue work ones, so I'm still deciding. Actually, you know what's going to work there, Robbie? Can you tag Stitch Enhancer, please? We don't want the pellin. It's too thick for this size. Wonderful Stitch Enhancer. I don't even have any with me here. It's inside. I've been using it. That's going to be that's perfect. Absolutely perfect to put in here. I'm going to do that. And if I kit this up, I will put it in the kit as well. Perfect. Because it's like, you know, the 640 is a 1/4 inch thick, say for argument's sake, 630 is an 1/8 Stitch Enhancer. It's got more adhesive on it, so it stabilizes better. And it's about a 1/16 of an inch thick. So it's just what we want, because we'll have a little talk about enhancing these blocks as well. All right, so let's go to what we're going to do with this piece, but also our background. So you would have seen on Facebook last night, I popped up this with one of these over the top. Now, these have been cut down out of the pink lilac purple ombre. So if I put this out here for you, you can see what it looks like. So it works like the gelato ones, and you can see that it goes to light in the middle and it goes back out to the dark as a mirror image on the other end. There is a directional pattern to it that goes that way, and then it mirrors in the middle as well, so it goes up. So you might want to take that into consideration. I'll leave that up to your judgment how you want to do it. Now with these blocks, they are 12.5 inch. So what I did with these 3 is I started down here, I took off just the selvages down the end. I can't tell you how surreal it is to actually cut this fabric up. It's pretty cool. But also very nervous that everything that I wanted to do with it is going to work. And maybe some of the long list that I've got won't, but hopefully it will. So now I've got 2 that are exactly the same, and then we'll have a lighter one that goes in the middle. I'm going to turn this one around because I'm a lefty. And they're 12.5. I'm going to leave that fold in there, and I'm going to come down to 6 1/4 so that when I open it out, it's also 12.5. So I'm just losing this bit. So that's my only waist. Now if you want to have a go at doing this with your Oriental Blue Work pattern, you need 1 meter of your background, because you're going to cut 3 12.5 inch strips, which is going to bring you up to 37.5. inches and 1 meter's 40 inches. So again, you're going to have very little waste if you want to have a go at doing this. The only thing I'd say is grab more if you think perhaps you'd like to bind it in this as well. You might want to bind in black, and I've popped Black Magic under the word YOMU to pop in the search window as well today. So I'm just going to iron out that crease. There we go. So this is the one that you saw on Facebook last night. Now, the fun thing about... oh, I'm laughing because it's kind of fun and maybe it's not. But you need to have some fun working out where you want to put your actual light and dark pieces. So, you might decide that you want to go dark, light, dark. So you would have this one over here with your clematis and with your iris, and then you'd have the light one in the middle behind your maple. You can also go the other way. It's a bit like noughts and crosses, isn't it? You could go dark, light, dark down this way. So, and you can mess. You might want to get more and do all dark and just have a light one in the middle. So you're going to get to have a little bit of a play. What I would do is cut them all first, and then just pin the mons onto them, each of the motifs, and see what you like the look of best. So I'm going to take my maple. I'm going to pop it on a dark one just to see how it looks. The other thing that when you have got this ready to pop on, you might want to refer back to a picture of the panel on the website, or take a photo of it before you start, because you might want to make sure that the orientation of these is the same as what it was on the original. So you might decide you want to change it, but you might be happy with the way that I did them, which is how I've pulled them out of Japanese sort of history books, so that you know what they look like as their original form. So that's pretty much how it's going to look on there, which is super cool. Now I want to do the same. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that's my fabric. I think it looks okay. Is that better? The other thing that I want to do, I do want to cut it down into octagons like I had on the Oriental blue work, because I want those little cross squares to go in here, probably using fussy cut bits from my leftover border pieces. So I've cut this directly out of the Oriental Blue Workbook, and I should note that on the Oriental Blue work and the Japanese gold work, these are bigger, but I was quite happy to stick with the size of the block background because it's got a pattern to it, whereas they're quite plain on the Oriental the Oriental Blue work. So I've cut the diagram or the template out to cut these down, and this doesn't have the seam allowance on it. So instead of doing the whole octagon like it says to do in the blue work, I've cut just the quarter section, and again I'll just fold this in half that way and give it a good press, and then the other way like that. And then I can take my diagram or my template and actually sit it on those cross lines, and I've got my perfect 1/4 inch left around the edges. So I'm just going to draw on with an iron off Frixion pen. Hey, a lot of people have asked me why don't I sell these. It's because they're a dime a dozen and they're available everywhere in stationery shops and in Woolies. But if you do live somewhere where you don't have a Woolies or someone that sells them, just tell me when you're ordering something. Say, Leesa, can you get me a Frixion? I'll just pick you up one at Woolies for you. I don't mind, and I'll just stick it in your order for you. Alright, so I've just drawn in that 1/4 inch seam allowance, but of course I could have just picked up, couldn't I? I could have just picked up my rotary cutter and done that. So again, that's the only waste we're going to get on these. But all those little bits, so So you know what, I'm going to sit my template there and my ruler over the top and just do that. Just throw caution to the wind. Hey, I'll have quilts to show that go with the Oriental Creative Escape. That's cool. And I have designed a project for it as well. If you're thinking of whether you're coming or not when the tickets go on sale on the 1st of Feb, we have the gorgeous Meredith Clark coming. We now have a guest speaker coming. And she's going to bring her truckload of beautiful quilts. So she even has an Oriental one, she assures me. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so now we start to get a feel of how this is going to look. What's going to go in there. And then we're going to come back. And I'm going to fussy cut for the squares that go in the corners, some of these. Alright, so where you can see on this one, we've got these little corner squares. That's where I'm going to pop this now. Oh, choices. There are choices. How big are those squares? You know what I'm thinking as well? You could also just have plain black here, and we could do little octagons. Too many choices. All right, I'll think on it. We could fussy cut this down and do little EPP octagons on that square that sits there. Now I'm confused. Yeah, okay, I'll think about it. I don't know. Maybe you could use this for the outer corners. I don't want to do circles again. We could use this for these. There's enough. And then this we could do plain black with like 4 octagons EPP'd. Okay, I'll work on it. Very quickly. So now I'm going to go back and I'll cut down these ones as well. Now if you're not a purple person, heaven forbid, no, if you're not a purple person, you could sit them all on the green, and that's going to have a lovely, like, calming effect. So you could. You've got a couple that don't, only the one that doesn't have green in, but that's the only guy, I think. So this would be the biggest contrast, and the rest of them are all going to work. And of course, everything that I have just said is going to work as well if you decide to do it with the summer collection. And with summer, you can go all out and put them on the red, orange, if you wanted to, but equally you can pop them on the green. I actually think I like the green. I know where I'm going to use that red a lot, but this is pretty. Yeah, I know. I've been working on it for 8 years. I'll put that one up there. I've been working on it for 8 years, and I still think, oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. So that is one of the ones that I'm working on, and don't wait for me if you want to go ahead and have a go. I know some of you have already got some, so you could have a go. And please remember, if you're in a Quilter's Life, you have a special offer in the general section. Please don't miss out on it. I need to set an end date on that soon. So pop in and have a look. For those that aren't in, that have been thinking about whether it's worth joining or not, there is a 20% offer at the moment on YOMU just for a Quilter's Life members. So membership's $10 a month. So I'll let you do the maths on whether it's worth joining or not for a bit. Okay, I'm going to put these to the side. Then I just want to show you the other one. It's so nice to be back playing with fabric again. Good morning. Oh, you know what? I've missed all your messages. I will go back and have a look. I want to show you the other one that I'm doing with the border stripe. But first, we were out here so early this morning because I was pretty excited to get out here and do a show. Oh, okay. Also, it was raining and I thought it was going to get heavier, so I did a mad dash to the shed at just before 7:30 because there's no umbrella up on the veranda at the moment. I was running around having a look at the viability or the feasibility of centre stage. So if you, and I think I have a centre stage here upstairs. Centre stage was the first, what do you want to call it, stack and whack that I had a go at. I hadn't done one before. I was very nervous, and we did one with Melba, and then we went back and did it with the purple clematis from Under the Australian Sun 3. The reason, I'll show you. Hang on. So this was centre stage 1. I think there is one here. I need to find it. We didn't get it out for Melba. Was that one of Fleck's quilts that we had at the exhibition? Oh my goodness, I'll have to look at the photos now. So we did that one. Okay, but the design, it's an issue, dilemma with it was that to get the right width of fabric to then cut into the 60 centimetre pieces to whack on top of each other, we didn't need the whole width of the bolt, so you cut out a big strip, the length of it parallel with the selvage first, and it's left to do with whatever you wanted. And I didn't like the wastage on it, so we went back and did it again, and they both took 5 metres or 5.5 yards. We did it again, and we used that leftover fabric, centre stage 2, to do an outer border. And so that's what we did with the Under the Australian Sun purple clematis UTAS 3-1. So we used that leftover to do this border. So if you've got these patterns, have a look, because I'm thinking we can use the panel to actually do a version of centre stage. So instead of cutting off whatever it was, 15 inches or whatever, instead of doing that, we cut off the top and bottom borders, and it leaves us with the piece in the middle to use to stack and whack. And I can't help thinking it might be super funky to do because it's going to take in all the motifs. I'm not worried about there being too much black because on both of these fabrics, the black was a predominant background. So I'm going to take one for the team and have a go. So I'll let you know how I go. But again, if you've got these patterns, just keep that in mind. The biggest thing, isn't it? The biggest thing about doing, I put the machine up this morning and I don't even need it. How hilarious. The biggest thing about doing stack and wax is to get a pattern that works really well and then invest in 6 repeats. You can't not. And with this one, they're octagons. So you needed 8 repeats. And so I've set it at 5 metres instead of the 4.8. That to me has always put me off doing a kaleidoscope quilt because of the amount that you need. So we've solved it with the border print because we've got 6 repeats across. So I'll show you. Now I'm going to just, I said to Rob, I've got to put the machine up. I don't even need it because I'm not going to bore you with piecing this morning. I'll show you the tips for piecing this, but we don't need to do that in here. Sorry, Robbie. I don't need it. But I do want the space. I'm just going to sit it there. Just don't let me trip over it when I run away later. Okay, so What did I do with it? Here it is.
Did you just...
What? You just walked in front of the camera, didn't you?
No. You see that much on a corner.
Oh. He's put it under the camera. Of all the places not to put it, for the risk of hitting the camera and the light, you've been here a lot, have you, haven't you? There's all that space out there. A 5 metre long counter. No.
It's a safe place.
We love him. Me too. All right, here we go. This is the border. All right, so we've got 3 on this side, 3 on the other. The whole lot. So, what that means, I'm just going to, oh no, I'll do it when I've cut it. What this means is that you do not need to buy a minimum of 6 repeats to make a kaleidoscope block. You only need to cut 1 strip, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 repeats. So you've got to twist your brain around and think about, instead of going this way to get your repeats now, you're going to go this way, and you only need to buy 25 centimeters per block. And I'll show you nervously live on Facebook. Okay, so Robbie, enough background noise. We do not need... What is the movie?
Jaws music.
Jaws music in the background. So you know that we sell in half meters. So you're going to get 2 out of 1. And I've just trimmed off that edge, which is also fine. I might trim this one too. I don't need to. It's not relevant. It's just habit. Oh, what happened then? There's a bow in this table. That is why it's being replaced. So I'll just sit that in the middle. I'm going to cut this down through here. So this means that you're going to be able to design your quilt and work out how many kaleidoscope blocks you want, and then just buy what you need. So if you just want 4, or perhaps you'd like the 7 or the 8, you just buy what you need. Now, you don't have to buy that 6 repeat. Nancy Cook said you flashed her. How rude, Rob. All right, now what I'm going to do is cross cut down my 6 pieces. So down the bottom here, on all of them, I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch of the black showing. So 1, 2, and there'll be a little bump up here where it was on the fold, but I'll come back and iron that in a tick. I think my need to make this a no-waste collection and no-waste patterns, it all started with just deciding to make it a really tight little range, and I just wanted to get as much flexibility at it as I could. And I knew what was coming next, which is Dutch, and there's just no waste there either. Okay, up here, it doesn't really matter, but what I'll do is I'll just take off that selvage, just with a 1/4 inch like that, and then that can go. So now we'll turn these round. This one's got my little crease in it, and I'm going to be really careful not to press it out of shape. Just a little gentle iron, and pop him on top. So you can see we've got exactly the same pattern 6 times round, like that. So now you know what happens next. We grab the pins, and we're going to have a little play and get them all lined up. So what we do now is just find little elements of the design where we've got a definitive little spot that we can pop a pin into. So on this bit that I've got here, there's a little center where those 3 leaves meet. So I'm going to pop my pin in there. Actually, I've got this other camera on. I might just shimmy over to here where we were going to have, there we go, where we were going to have the machine. So you can see I've just got a little leaf here. So I'm going to pop my pin in the center of where those little leaves meet on all 6 pieces. That and that, and then I just give them a little bit of a shake. Now the important thing when you're lining up design work as well is you only want to pick up just a teeny weeny little bit of the fabrics, a little bit like if you were quilting, because if you pick up too much it can still slide around. So we'll just give that a shake, and then we'll do it again on the other side. You can see it's all a little bit wonky over here, but I'm going to choose the center of one of these little cherry blossoms. So I'm going to go in the middle of that one, and this one, oh, it's way down there. Like that. And then once you've sort of got 2 pins secured on each side, it will all start to settle down. So we've got those there, and we'll do the same. Just pick up as little as you can to hold it in place like that. Now I'm using my normal patchwork pins this morning, and I had the option to open up one of the packets, but we don't have that much in stock, so I didn't want to. These are clover ones, and they've got the flat heads on them. So these are really good because when you see what happens next, when I pop my ruler over the top, it's going to sit up a little bit because of the heads on my glass pins. But you can get, if you don't already have flat head pins, and then they're easier to sit your ruler over the top. Would you like that little soft cell on the side? But mine are inside, and I thought, no, I'm not going to go and wreck them. Open another pack. I probably want one more, and I know where I'm going to be, roughly what I'm going to be doing next. So I want to avoid having the pins there because I'm using my there. So I'm going to pop that there. I've just got underneath in here, I've got a maple leaf. So just bear with me. I'm going to pop one in there, one there. You know, and if you don't have a big sewing area, this is sort of one of those things you can get your blocks cut or your pieces cut, and then pop this on a tray and do it in front of the telly or at the kitchen bench. Okay, so a little bling there, just pick up a little bit. And what I also love about this is we're only working with these small pieces. I remember when Emma and I did, not so much Centre Stage, but Sunburnt Country. Remember that one that we've all got in our cupboard to finish before the Goodbye Under the Australian Sun exhibition. Oh my goodness, Carol Newton, don't say a word. You're the only one of us, I think, that's finished it. Okay, so, or maybe I'll just have yours, Carol. That'd be great. Right, so I've got those in, and I can sort of feel now it's quite stabilized. I could keep going and add more, but I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to take it back over onto the cutting mat, and we're going to create some magic now and cut it down. I can't find my Creative Grids 60-degree ruler. So you're going to bear with me as a left-handed person working with a right-handed Creative Grids ruler to find the 60-degree marks on it. Just warning you now. When I couldn't find it on Friday, I rang my local Creative Grids distributor and ordered a stack of them, so they are coming. I might actually, Rob and I might actually put it up online today so you can pre-order one. It just means your order will probably go out Wednesday or Thursday, and keep in mind, you know how it works, combined orders and refunded postage until midday on Tuesday. All right, so you know, if you come back through, I'll let you know when they're online, and you can add one to your order if you want to, if you're getting anything. Okay, so on your Creative Grids rulers, or on whatever ruler you're using, it will most definitely have a 30 degree line and a 45 degree line. So I need to get this one to work, and if I can't get it big enough on that one, I've got my big one here, and I can't even find, look, I've ordered a heap, okay, because I couldn't find my my 60-30, my shorter one, and then I remembered a customer begged me for it and I sold it to her and forgot to reorder. Okay, so this is my 30-60 line on this one, so I might use the big one. No laughing. No laughing. Fee, you're late. Yes, well, yes, we won't talk about the rugby. Okay, so what happens here, if I sit my, oh my goodness, I got it first go, that's hilarious. If I sit my 60 degree line, and I'm sorry about the marks, you can see that's our overhead lights. If I sit that there, can you see that? 60 degree on it, this is going to give me a 60 degree angle here. But what's wrong with this story? I'm left-handed, so I need to turn the whole thing around to this side. And you can see my ruler's a bit wonky, and that is because of my pins underneath. So I just have to be really careful. Now I can sort of get an idea of where this is going to go, so I can start to have a little bit of a play with what I want to sit in the middle. There's a pin there. I'm going to have to take it out. So if I just sit that carefully back on, when I cut this, I'm going to have some poppy, I'm going to have some clematis, I'm going to have a nice big leaf in the middle. Who knows? We just don't know, do we, with a kaleidoscope, how it's going to come up. But I'm going to sit that there, hold my breath, and cut. That's not going to be wasted, okay? Now, I've got to go the other way. Again, no laughing. If I sit that way, now I'm going to sit the 60 degree on here, but again, I'm left-handed, so I need to turn the whole thing around like that. See, if I get us the wedge, then we can just sit the wedge on and go zip, zip through. Make sure that's all sitting. That's not going to be wasted. Okay, so we'll sit these up here. This is why we get addicted to kaleidoscopes. Now, I'm also going to trim this down because they're just a mystery every time. So I want to have about a half an inch above all of the motifs on this one. So when I do the actual pattern for it, I will be setting you very definite measurements, okay, and diagrams to use with or without a ruler, a wedge ruler. So there we go. Let's see what it looks like. So put one there. There we go. And because there is a much larger repeat in the actual border as you go across, every one, if you just cut them one after the other, they're all going to come up different. There you go. That's what it's going to look like. Now, we are going to lose a little bit because we've got our seam allowances to go in. So we're going to lose a little bit off here, but essentially that's what it's going to look like, and all of them will be different. Now, before I show you what happens with these pieces, just a little tip for you. And I was talking with Deb Nielsen yesterday, and she's got some other fantastic tips on sewing fabric that's on the bias. And being a long arm quilter, she deals with the challenges of quilting and stabilizing quilts where everything's cut on the bias every day, she tells me. And the big chandelier quilt that she had at the Melbourne exhibition was all cut on the bias as well. So I'm going to have a big chat with her. But for now, if you want to have a go at this, so these are all cut on the bias here. Hey, that's pretty good. Look at this. There's hardly in this fabric, if I pull, there's not much movement at all. That's super good. Okay, but if you want to stabilize this or anything else, you know what my little trick is. The 1/4 inch quilter's tape. You're going to pop that on down here. So it sits right on the edge. And that's going to stabilize your fabric, but it's also going to give you your 1/4 inch seam. The most important thing with this is do not iron it while the tape's still in it. So sew your seams. Sometimes you only need to have it on one, and it would be, of course, the one on the top, because the feed dogs underneath on your machine are going to evenly pull through the piece that's underneath. It's the top that really needs the assistance. So pop it on the top, optionally on the back, pin through, and it's really important that you pin through and match up as best you can all of this along here, so they're all lovely sitting together nice and neat. Okay, and then as soon as you're finished, take your tape off, because if you iron it, it's going to stick and then you just can't get it off and your edges are going to fray. The other tip too that Deb reminded me of is don't iron your block until you have completely pieced it. And then on the back, we're going to iron all of our seams in one direction, so that we get a lovely, nice, sharp center. There is always the optional extra of adding a Suffolk puff or a circle into the middle, and that will be an optional one. And you know what? I'm hoping I don't with mine, but we might have a little play with the pattern at the back, and I'll get Cass to Photoshop in a little Suffolk puff as an optional extra if you think that you need one afterwards. But I'm really hoping you don't. Now, the other thing that you could also add into the center, because we are doing hexagons, is to add in a paper pieced one. So with some of your leftovers, you could actually just fussy cut a little hexagon and pop it in the middle. So I've got the Epiplex ones, as you know, so we could, you're not going to be able to see this really well. Hopefully the lights will reflect it, but we could just, can you see that? Just a little hexagon in the middle might look actually super cute in a contrasting color cut from somewhere else in the fabric. So that's one thing. Hey, you know what I've been doing? I just want to show you. To design the layout of my hexagon quilt, let me just move this. Hey Robbie, I so did not put that camera where it should have been this morning. It's not right.
Deb says there's not a lot of stretch and it will be manageable. Should be manageable.
Oh, she says there's not. Yeah. Let's not look at the other side where I nearly burnt the house down. Okay. I've just got to find what surface. Oh, you can see them on there. Can you see them on the overhead? Oh, we're good. All right. If you want to design your own hexagon quilt and you've got some EPP hexagon papers or Epiplex, just use them to design your quilt layout. You could have gaps in between, and then you could come through and pop the ombre in the red, orange, or the green in between, like this. All right. Or you could decide that you wanted to just make it a great big hexagon kaleidoscope flower, like this, and float it on a background. Have a look at Melbourne Magic as a pattern. I'll get Rob to check it's still up, just as a concept. That's a pentagonal one, but just as a concept of how you could float it on a background. And then with your leftover pieces, you could do some little hexagon flowers with the leftovers to sit in the corners. But if you've got these, you can actually, you know, on a small scale, design how you would lay out all of your kaleidoscope blocks. So just have them on the bench and have a go. You could stick them on a bit of paper and pop it up on the wall, take a photo with your phone so you've got it as a reference. I would always make up more. I mean, you're going to get 7. This is going to be a 2 meters of this to get, you'll get 8 blocks. I would always recommend making up the 8, because sometimes when you go through and later and have a look at the balance of all the colours, you might find that you need a little bit of an extra one to have a little bit of a play with to get the colours right. And you can always use the other one to put on a pretty cushion. So that's one way that you can do that. Now, in the world of, here's one I prepared earlier, I want to show you what I did when I cut down these sections and this lot. I did it first with the pink purple to show you.
I'll put Melbourne Magic back up.
Ta. Every time he works towards me, I think that we're going to our frame is freezing, and it freaks me out.
It's okay today.
It's okay today. Okay. Because only myself and quilters get up at this time on a Sunday morning. Or stay up late, depending on where you are. All right, here's another one that I did in the purple. Got this here, this here. There we go. It's addictive, isn't it? It's just really addictive. Okay, now with the leftover pieces, so I had this large section here. I went back through with this and repinned to make sure they were all still aligned, and I've cut another 60-degree this way. Now I'm not going to do it with this one because I can see this is moving a little bit at the moment. I need to repin, so I will do that. But then I've come through and I've cut this way. And then what it gave me, and this will all be going in the pattern that I do, because again, no waste. This is what we got with the next cut. You can see they all fell on the floor at some stage. Look, I got a pretty blue one, just based on where I had this one cut from on the border. So if this had happened with the other colourway, these would all be cream.
Melbourne Kaleidoscope, not Melbourne Magic.
Melbourne Magic is Melbourne Magic is floating on a background. That's what I'm trying to show the girls.
Okay.
Alrighty, that's just that they can make the whole thing and then set it onto a background.
Right.
So you'll also get a secondary smaller one, and then if you go back and cut this one, you also get another little one out of it as well, which is this one. So you can just keep going with all of your leftovers. Now something went wrong, very wrong, last night when I was cutting this one, and I think it slipped. So they're not absolutely perfect, but you get it, right? Because I was just a bit too excited and I shortcutted. So then I got that one. So I get a smaller one again. So it might be that you want to do a big flower in the middle and then put smaller ones around the edge. I don't know. Or we could set this one into a block. I don't know. But you get it. Now when you come down to this size as well, you can play. So you might decide that you want to have kind of the black as more of a feature. And you can sit and play and move them around like this. So now we've got a really striking kind of thing going on. Remember, we're going to lose some with seam allowance, and the same with these. I kind of like the idea of the base of the iris flower spinning like that. We could just go all day. Right, and then I still have this piece left out of all of that. So for me, this would be where I'd come in and start doing hexagon flowers with my templates. And it might be that I could pop it over this lovely little blue flower or over the chrysanthemum and fussy cut it down, or just do them random. And then they could be corner blocks, they could go on an outer border. But all of this is going to come from just one 25cm cut, and there is literally nothing left over, so we're going to be able to use it to its absolute maximum. which I'm really happy about. In terms of setting these onto a background, as I mentioned, we could have, with layouts, you could have a V in the ombre, you could set the whole thing onto the ombre, but I think to get that really cool kind of floating kaleidoscope effect, the best thing's going to be to set it onto a black background so it looks like it's just sitting and floating all over the top, particularly when you can see, you know, a fair bit of black showing through in the actual motifs. We won't see this bit, but we will see the black that's sitting behind. And with all of it, we can match them up with their friends in the ombre in this one, or in the red. This can be binding as well as piecing in between. Perhaps if we do little fussy cut hexagons, a little bit of this in them for the center of them would be nice. And with both of them, the green's going to work. So my brain's just gone to the Chandler's Cottage applique sample. With some of you who've done it, we could do bias vines and leaves with the green, and then use the leftovers from this with these to do the flowers that are floating on it. My brain hurts now. Look, just one more thing before we go also. We've still got Summer Palace Wicker. If you have a look at this, we've set it up as, it's still set up as a 1/2 metre. It's going to work really well with this fabric, but also we've set it up as a 4.5 metre bolt like we've been doing with some of the others from Under the Australian Sun at the moment, so that you can grab it for backing fabric. So this, at the price it's at, which is a very much final wholesale clearance price, it's going to make a fantastic backing fabric to use for anything you do with YOMU. And you're going to get just a really subtle thread showing on the back. If you use black, then it's just going to show a little bit through this, so it's going to be really nice to use with it. So either way, it's busy enough to hide other coloured threads, but it's also going to blend in with black. Now, speaking of threads as well, just before I go, you will see, morning sweetie Jenny, you will see up under the word YOMU this morning, these. I haven't even started using them yet, but Margaret and I were with Jennifer at the Wonderful warehouse. It's always a joy to go to the Wonderful warehouse and see Jen and Carmen and her team. It's like going to a patchwork shop and just getting colour overload, but in thread. And Margaret was specifically looking for threads for some new projects, for Creative Escapes and some new things she's doing next year. I was looking for some things as well. This was not part of the plan, but we couldn't find what we wanted. So Jen made the fatal mistake of saying, do you want to go, come with me, we'll just go and have a look in the warehouse. We left with way more, actually Margaret more than me, way more than what we had planned to go for. So I found this. I sort of walked past this pack and I took a double take. I just want to show you what I mean. This is Alison Glass. Now these, we've got these at 65. They're supposed to be nearly 80. And Rob said yesterday, oh, they're sold out on the Wonderful website. I said, yeah, because I've got them all in a box down there. So that's very me being very smug. Can you see what I mean? Right? So, oh, I did cut one of these. Hang on, I'll just lay that out. So in this box, it's got this, that all go with the summer one. And then, wait, I gotta go the other way. I'll put this one up. And then this one, we go this, all go with this one. And then there's a grey, and then there's this beautiful browny gold one that go with all the stems. And then this one goes over here, this one goes here, and this goes here, and that goes there. And then this, oh my goodness, this goes with, look, it goes with this, that. Oh, it does my head in. So we thank Elsa Glass for putting this beautiful box together on behalf of YOMU and the team. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you decided that you, seriously, I've just been enough for now, but if you are a slow stitcher and you want to embellish all of the mons up here, everything you need's in the box. So they're beautiful, wonderful pearl cotton, size 8, and you can come through and embellish. You can slow stitch, do your quilting, whatever you like, and you're going to find everything you want in here. I can't help myself. I don't even know. Have I put one away for me?
No.
Can you knock the stock down by one, please? So I want one. So
you trash that one now. You have to.
No, I've just taken the lid off gently. So this excites me no end, because look at it with the, look at it with the look goes with that. I don't even know, Alison, but I feel like I should. Look at the orange. Oh, there. And then that one goes with that colour. Anyway, you get my drift. So I went to find 3 threads that day. 3. And I left with, I don't want to talk about it. And no point hiding it from Rob. He does the books. It's just no point. It's just no point. Anyway, so they are there as well. I've popped up online. Most important thing with all of this, if not today, moving forward. Did you remember the Chewy checkout thing that we used to do back at Aspendale Gardens? I don't know why we let it go, but the Chewy checkout concept is if you need something that's little, a teeny weeny little thing, like some embroidery, needles or machine needles or something, have a list of what you think you need. And anytime you order fabric, pop them in. It's not going to change your postage at all. So on top of those flat pins, when you're working with kaleidoscope work particularly, and this fabric, which is coming in a super tight, no stretchy cloth, you've got to have that sharp needle. So please make sure you've got new needles in as well. And the other thing, if you're cutting multiple layers, this is where I get a lecture up now. When was the last time you changed your blade? Because you're going to be cutting through 6 layers at a time. So please make sure that your blade is new and sharp when you embark on multiple cutting kaleidoscope quilts. All right, so I've got that in there. Quilter's tape. Oh, and also I've popped these back up. So these are the best needles to look at if you're going to work with the Pearl 8. I checked with Margie. So we've got 2. There's a great pack that is a assorted pack of gold eye embroidery needles if you're working with anything from a single strand of DMC right through to Pearl 8. That's the pack. If you're just after multiples of a good one to use with the pearls, we've marked up the size 3 embroidery needles this morning as well. Okay, so they're going to be your best options to pop with the thread. So I want to say thank you very, very much for spending a bit of time with me this morning. It was a long time coming, both just in life in general and for YOMU, and we're not done. So I'm going to start work on these quilts now, on the kaleidoscope ones, some secondary projects with those, and also with the Mon quilt, and get that done. And then there's just a heap more that we're going to do over the next few months, so it'll be lots of fun. Please remember, it's not just here. We've got it going out to shops all over Australia, so please check in with your local store to see if they can get it in for you, or they're waiting for it to come in, or they've got it. So please check with them as well. And if you've got any questions at all about the collection or anything else at Chandler's Cottage, info@chandlerscottage.com. And oh my goodness, look at you all. All right, listen, thank you so much. I'm going to go back and read your comments now, and I'll get in touch with you if I need to. Otherwise, I'm going to see you Wednesday evening. Yes, when it rains, it pours. I'll see you Wednesday evening, and we're going to do our little November project from our calendar from this year, and we're going to have a look at a few other little bits and pieces. If you're planning ahead, Wednesday week is going to be a show with Margaret and myself, and we're going to have a look at some projects that we've worked on throughout the year from our creative escapes that we've now going to be releasing as actual kits that you can purchase, and generally having a bit of a giggle like we usually do. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday night, and in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right, thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.